Q6 level 3. For this level, you should end up about 2/3 of the way through the book that you and your reading group have selected. You'll be at least well past the halfway point. And what you're going to have to do at the end of this level is write a letter. You're going to pick a minor character, so not the main character. And in the voice of that minor character, you're going to write a letter to the main character. If you were writing in about Things Fall Apart, if that's the one that you're reading, this is the one that your Springboard book wants you to read. But if you're doing that, you might choose to write in the voice of Okonkwo's friend, Obi-Erika, to Okonkwo. Well, Okonkwo is our main character. Obi-Erika is his friend. He's a minor character. So you could do that. Dear Okonkwo, in the voice of Obi-Erika. Let's actually take a look at the rubric for this level so that you can see what I'm talking about. The first standard is comprehension of literature. And what you're going to see in particular, the second bullet point here, is that you have to show a strong understanding of the novel's theme. Now, there are some questions along the way in this level to help you identify and narrow down the conflict of that novel. But your protagonist is going to be running up against something that is keeping that protagonist from getting what he or she really wants. And you might remember the 4 major kinds of conflict. There's character versus character, character versus self. If it's an internal conflict, there's character versus society, and then there's character versus nature or fate or the gods or something like that. Most of the things that you will be reading, it's going to be character versus self, character versus character, or character versus society. Those are really what's going to show up in the things that you are reading, and less so character versus nature. But you have to figure out what that conflict is. Who is this protagonist, and what is it in society that is keeping that protagonist from getting what he or she wants? Or who is this other character? Or what is this thing within him or herself that is keeping him or her from getting what he or she wants? In terms of evaluation of literature, there's also a little bit about the pacing of the novel. You're more than halfway through the book. Do you feel like it's moving too fast or too slow or just right? And what's your evidence for that? But it's this writing standard that really covers the thing that you were going to do at the end, which is this letter. So after you've identified the conflict, your letter in the voice of the minor character to the protagonist should offer 3 good solutions to the conflict. If it's an internal conflict, it might be, well, you could just decide to do this, or you need to go to therapy so that you can figure out, or whatever. If it's an external conflict, if it's like society, the solution might be, hey, who cares what society thinks? You need to be you, man. You need to be you. But then also, you're going to have to quote from the novel, integrating that into your writing. Now, this can be tricky, but it could also be super easy, because it would be very easy to find things that the main character says and things that your minor character, the one that you're writing in the voice of, says, and to blend those into your writing. So finding and using the quotes might be a challenge, but it should also be fun and interesting and really make your argument sing. Now, Part A asks you to reflect a little bit before reading the middle third of your book about the motifs that your author seems to be using. And if you don't know what a motif is, look it up. This device that you're watching this on is connected to All World Knowledge. You can just type in motif into the search. There's also a link in the document to a video about Shonda Rhimes. She's How to Get Away with Murder, Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and the way she uses motifs in her television shows. Then as you're reading, you're going to continue to add to a double entry or dialectical journal, and then you're going to take a moment to try to review what the conflict in the book seems to be. And then just before you get to the letter writing part, which is part F, there's part E, which, as I mentioned earlier, asks you to consider the pacing. So some easy questions along the way about conflict, about motif, about pacing, to make you think of the mechanics of the book, how it is put together. But then your opportunity to write a letter from a minor character to the main character. That's what you've got to do. Good luck.